So dreaded MOT time for the TDI revealed at the local Halfords place. Fails for at least the spring and the drop link on the front right hand side, and that came to a quote of £306.70, and I don't really know what this is getting included for the price because I haven't broken it down. I suspect just literally the spring and drop link by the time you sort of factor in how much labour they're charging on there. So I thought, I know it's a bit crusty under there anyway, it's not something I've looked at yet since I've had the car, so I'm going to do it all again properly from scratch. So wheels in the air and off. Also found the boots or gaiters for the track rod ends were also pretty damaged. That didn't come up on the report, and a few other bits beside that. So the shields, like dust shields for the discs, they were looking like they came off the Titanic. I mean, the struts, VW logo on them, they're probably 21 years old. Key part of this M14 triple square to remove the shock absorber. On one side it was actually just a bolt, so your mileage may vary. So straight away, lid off, and on the passenger side, the near side, you can get to the top mount bolts quite easy, but on the driver's side on all of these there is the brake fluid reservoir in the way, so maybe a few other bits make things a bit easier for myself. I've decided I'm going to move all of this air intake ducting piping out the way as best as I can. So we've got a 10mm nut here just holding the intake pipe on. You might be able to just move this out of the way. I've decided to move the rest of it out of the way, so I've got some clamp pliers for these spring clips that I'm going to use. As you see here, I'm just going to speed through this because it's not very interesting, but I'm just going to separate the math out of the way so I can get a bit more space just to move that one intake pipe, because it is attached down the back of the engine. I don't want to mess around with that too much. Just want to give myself a bit more room to move the brake fluid reservoir out of the way, including this little drain pipe from the scuttle. So moving that all out of the way, I've got one 10mm bolt on that side, easy one to do, like so, and then there's going to be two on the teasels at least, just behind the back of all of this. So not the easiest thing to try and get to or show, but as you can see here, 2 bolts. So kind of going through the back here, as you can see. And you should be able to just undo the top one, and the bottom one does slip on, but there's not really quite enough room to get to it. I tried to fiddle around with this a bit to see if it would come out, but I decided not to be lazy and just actually undo that bolt as well. It looks like it's designed to come off some other way, but yeah, I didn't really want to wrestle with it too much. So if it isn't a diesel you're working with, you might actually find there's a bit more going on behind there. There's like a little bracket that holds some of the fuel supply stuff on. So you can see it here. So that has 3 bolts you have to undo. I didn't find a way around that on the petrol ones either. This is from an FSI, I think the 1.4 should be about the same. But regardless, once you've got it out of the way, you can quite easily see now there's the 3 nuts. These are 13mm nuts that hold the top mount to the body of the car. And this little black cap should also pop off out of the way to make it a bit easier to get to these. Now space is a bit restricted, but it isn't too bad. I'm going to leave them alone at the moment and get to work on removing the bolt that holds the strut in, and the lovely crusty drop link bolt that attaches to the shock absorber, and then our track rod end. So it should be easy enough to get to these, and then with the actual track rod end itself, I've just slightly undone the little nut at the end, the lock nut, and then the whole thing will just spin off out the way, like so. As you can see, that one's pretty far gone. And then, just because I think these have been in for so long, and you can see this one isn't the hex nut, so it has been replaced at some point, but I'm just having to coax it through. So you can put the nut back on the end to do this, so you don't flatten off the end of the bolt and stop it coming through. but we're using a little punch to drift it through the last bit. The whole thing will come out, and you can see there it's all swollen with rust, so that's what was making this not as much fun, but it's out. That's the important part. So once we have got that bolt, it's like a pinch bolt really, I suppose you'd call it. Once we've got that out the way, it should in theory mean we can start doing the rest of it. So these are the original arms, I believe, so the ball joints unbolt from there. I can slip that out the way. The drop link was putting up a fight, so I just had to use a pair of mole grips on the back, or you can grind them off, and then we should be able to start pulling down the hub carrier to pull the suspension sort of down away from the shock absorber. And this was a little bit of a pain, and I've got a tool which I use later on, which I should have had at this stage, but I was using like a chisel just to give myself a bit of room to expand it at the back. But once it's clear of the hub carrier, it's all good, and we can then start to go up to the top and carefully undo those 13mm nuts. I do it this way just because it's easier to pull the hub carrier down away from the strut rather than having to deal with all that dangling down in one go. So once those nuts are undone carefully, we should be able to move the shock absorber out of the way. And in this particular case, we can see why it failed, because there's a bit of spring at the bottom here that's just gone missing somewhere over the years, I guess. Now, passenger side is an easier one. I always start off with the driver's side if I was doing both, because it's easier to do the passenger, so you kind of finish with a kind of more straightforward job rather than hitting the annoying, difficult one first. So you repeat the same on that side, and you should end up pretty much like this, both shock absorbers out of the way. I've also stripped off the disc so I can get to these, well, what was bolts holding the dust shields on. They don't really resemble bolts anymore now, they're just rotten stubs in there. So if you're lucky, you should be able to unbolt these. I think they're about an 8mm nut. Me, not so much, so I had to angle grind a cut into there, like a groove, and then using a chisel or a drift, just to tap it round in the sort of anti-clockwise direction to undo them. And once it's had a little bit of a shock in there, you should be able to do as I'm showing here and just undo the bolt. They shouldn't be on too tight. It's just that initial like movement on there to get it loose. So maybe a bit lucky on these, not so lucky to be able to unbolt them, but got them that way. And obviously wearing a big glove here because it's sharp metal, sharp rusty metal at that, so just trying to take precautions. So like this, all nice and clean. So I gave it just a quick spray, more cosmetic than anything else, but just to tidy that up. And then I had a full Bilstein kit come through, and as you can see, that's dust covers, springs, everything I need to assemble them off the car, at which point 7mm Allen key and a 22mm ring spanner was useful for doing the top nut off the car, so I could assemble those all together without sort of going near the car. Of course, using a spring compressor as well. There's only a cheap one, I really should have a better one, but it got the job done, as you can see. So I've got both struts fully assembled, and I can just pop them back into place. But before I kind of move on towards this whole putting everything back together, I did buy this little tool to try and sort of open up the hub carrier. As you can see here, for 5% off, £13.99, relatively cheap, and I wish I had it in the first place, because you can put that in position as you see here, and then it will just open up the hub carrier, a sort of pinch bracket, and make it easier just to slide the new shock absorbers in, like so. The last little bit you do have to position it around a bit to get it in, but you can hopefully then start to put the ball joints back in if you have the unboltable ones, and then get everything pretty much lined up. You shouldn't have to struggle with these nuts, they should go in by hand quite easily, like so. And then I've used the trolley jack just underneath the ball joint to just try and help everything up a bit more, to force everything in place. As you can see here, just about getting the shock absorber in now, starting to tighten everything up just so it's all in place. And then this is the pinch bolt, the new one that came with the top mount kit, roughly in place like so, but it should go in, as you can see here, just slide in and out without any resistance once it's in the right place. New drop links go on as well, and then new track rod ends. So I'll probably get the tracking done at some point, but I've left the lock nuts pretty much in the exact place they need to be, so I can just kind of restore roughly the tracking as it was before. So that'll go on quite nicely, hand tight. Like so. And then new dust shields came as well, so once I've got my triple square in to put the new bolts roughly in place, I'll put the new dust shields on. As you can see, so there it was on there, I got some M6x10 stainless bolts, some zinc washers, which will hopefully keep it sort of from rusting on again. And then it's a case of torquing everything up to spec. Not so fun getting into this top mount here to do the torquing. I wish I would have bought a 1/4 inch torque wrench, but once everything's back on as it was, I can just compare. So £306 for the spring and drop link change. In the end, not including my own labour, but this is including delivery and everything, it's just under £287 for full shock absorbers, dust covers, coil springs, top mounts, track rod end, drop links, and then renewing all the splash guards for the brake disc, which I'm pretty happy with. Obviously, you know, this isn't something everyone could do themselves, but I found it pretty straightforward, and the driver side top mount does get a lot of slack for being a hard job on here, but once you've moved that brake fluid reservoir out of the way, it isn't actually too bad at all. So hope this helps somebody.